Are you a translator who already works with agencies? Would you like to get more work? Then my advice for you to do this is to be your project manager's #1 choice. I'm going to show you how to do this in this video. So what steps can you make to be that #1 choice? Let's take a look at a few of the tips. Tip #1 is to flag project issues early. So that means if there's a problem with formatting, or it looks like maybe the client has even sent the wrong file through, don't wait until the deadline to tell your PM about this, as this can create a lot of stress. Ultimately, a lot of these projects can be solved really easily the earlier that the PM's aware of them. So if you're a responsive and responsible translator, your PM will really start to trust you. So make sure that any of those issues you flag as soon as you can. By the way, when I said flagging issues, that means your issues as well. So if, heaven forbid, you're going to be late for a project, if you're going to let the PM know in advance, or maybe just say, oh, there's a chance that I might deliver a little bit late, again, it's usually something that can be solved pretty early on with no problems. But if again this is going to be something that the PM is made aware of right at the end of the period towards the deadline, it's going to cause problems and also it's going to make you look like you're not the most professional. My second tip is to be the kind of person that provides solutions and not problems. PMs really don't like it when an issue happens and the translator comes with that time-honoured phrase of please advise. It's much better in this case to think of a way of solving the problem that you've come across if you can, and to suggest that, because ultimately it makes you look really smart and you're also doing a little bit of the PM's job for them in terms of solving problems. So this is a really good tip for you. My next tip in terms of your great relationship with your PMs is actually something that has nothing whatsoever to do with translation, and that is be chatty. Ultimately, when you're responding to emails, if you can add a little bit of spice, a little bit of character to the way that you communicate, it's really good. And it just means going beyond those usual one-liner communications and maybe actually even answering the question, how is your weekend? If you can remember something about your PM, if you can start to build a little bit of a relationship and a little bit of rapport, even by email, it makes you really stand out, because almost nobody does this. So be chatty in your emails. This next tip is really obvious, but if you haven't thought of it, it's time. So my next tip is to be responsive. Of course, yeah, that means replying to emails, but as well, it's a really good thing if you're going to be out of the office for an hour or 2 hours, or if you're taking a day off, that you put an out-of-office message. It can just take a lot of the stress out of communication. If a PM can't get hold of someone and they know why, that's great. So OOOs are really good for short periods, and yeah, of course, don't leave it too long when you're applying to questions and accepting jobs. Okay guys, so I'm going to actually give you a next tip which is extremely controversial, and it's this. I think you should use more emojis in your emails. Now some of you out there are probably going, nah, what is wrong with this guy? Is he crazy? You know, I know that emojis have really taken over in our society, and for some people, myself included, I feel irritated by them. But business studies have shown that emails that are sent using emojis are better received. The reason for it is that sometimes in emails, ultimately, we don't have the same effect as we do looking at somebody and talking to them. We don't have that way of gauging emotions through emails. And emojis, as crazy as it sounds, are actually a way to get past that. So don't overuse them, but a smiley face here and there, particularly if you're trying to put across a point that's maybe a bit difficult, where you feel that you're being a little bit of a burden on your PM, it's really good to lighten the load. So give it a try, and if you disagree, tell me why in the comments. My next tip is to be someone who goes the extra mile. Now that doesn't mean bending over backwards to help your PM or help the agency, but ultimately if you're someone who comes through in a crisis, you'll be remembered. And here's why. There's an important principle in psychology called the reciprocity principle. And what that means is that when you do something for them, when you help someone out, when you do them a favor, ultimately the other person feels subconsciously a need to give that back to you. And hopefully that means more jobs. So being available and being ready and having that, dare I say, can-do attitude, cringe, is a good thing. So give it a go. So in conclusion, to build excellent rapport with your PMs and hopefully get a lot more work from the agencies that you work with, be easy to work with, be trustworthy, and just be willing to go the extra mile. If you've got any more tips, or if you disagree with what I said about emojis, please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more excellent videos like this. See you later!